Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We need to ask the question, why has Nicola Sturgeon not been suspended from the party? Previously, when people have been under investigation, she has suspended them. There's been a few examples of this, and yet Humza Yousaf seems so, unwilling, shall we say, to suspend her, to suspend his mistress. Not in that way, not in a sexual way. No, but, he is her Padawan, or possibly her Horcrux. It's unsure which. But for whatever reason, he will not suspend her. He will continue to let her remain part of the party. She will, still have influence, and she will still sit in Holyrood, should she choose ever to return, as an MSP for the SNP. Why is this man so spineless? Why can he not take control of a situation and say, yes, well, while the investigation is going on, we want to distance ourselves just in case there is malfeasance. He seems to be willingly inviting the connection between crime and the SNP. It's a very, very weird stance to take. But this is what happens when you have a man who has had his roundies taken off him, put in a jar, and is sitting beside Nicola Sturgeon's bed, and she can give it a rattle every morning. Because he hasn't got them, has he? He hasn't got a spine. He is a jellyfish. Let's look at this and see why people are saying that he is a very, very weak leader. And in fact, I would say also a very weak man. Here goes. So, Humza Yousaf's weak leadership blasted as he refuses to suspend Nicola Sturgeon. The SNP's weak decision doesn't shock Tory MSP Craig Hoy, who said the only reason to ignore the party's precedent is because he is hopelessly compromised by her support. And after all, he was, the Padawan, as I say. She was his mentor. She brought him through, brought him up. He's got that connection to her. And yet, he maintains this connection. He should be looking to protect the party. She would. If positions were reversed, she would have suspended him and dropped him without a second's hesitation. So, Humza Yousaf has been branded a weak leader after he claimed he has no reason to suspend Nicola Sturgeon from the SNP. But that's wrong. He has got such a good reason. We don't know, and certainly he doesn't know, the outcome of this investigation. And it could well be that charges are brought, and it could well be she's found guilty and she goes to prison. His job as the leader of a party is to protect the party. He needs to distance the party from her, just in case. He needs to suspend her from the party, remove the whip, just until all this is over and everything is laid to rest. And then she can come back. She can be welcomed back into the fold at a later date, should it all be okay. But he needs, and as any real leader would do, he needs to put that distance there, and he needs to suspend her. But he can't. He hasn't got it. He hasn't got it in him. He's not a leader. He's a weak, vacillating bag of hot air. So politicians from several parties, including the SNP itself, have urged Miss Sturgeon to be consistent with her values and to step down until the police probe is over. And the latest comes from her fellow Nat MSP, Michelle Thompson, who herself stepped down during an investigation into her property dealings and rejoined once she was cleared. Now, Sturgeon says, and I covered this in an earlier video, that she's absolutely innocent of all charges. That's fine. So she should have no issues at all with standing down until the investigation is finished, at the end of which she will be proven to be innocent and she can come back in. Let's see if she does that, because she won't do that. She'd expect other people to do it, but she won't, because that would be to admit that she was in some way wrong. And we know she's psychologically incapable of doing that. This is the sort of behaviour you get from narcissists and psychopaths, of which she undoubtedly, I think, is. Mr. Yousaf's inaction has already led to suspicion that he is giving his predecessor special treatment. Well, of course he is. He daren't not. He's so closely aligned, An MSP's questioned whether he would be strong enough to do the right thing. No, he isn't. He is not. This is the action of a weak leader, unable to stand up to his predecessor to whom he owes his job, says Scottish Tory chairman Craig Hoy, in light of the First Minister's confirmation that Miss Sturgeon will be staying within the SNP. Now, the trouble is, he's weak on this front, but he's going to be weak on other fronts. And just when Scotland may, at some point, need someone who is strong to do something for the right of the nation, he will fold because he hasn't got the spine to stand up to the big boys and say, no, there's a line and I will not cross it. He won't do that. He's kind of like, look, these are my principles, and if you don't like them, I have others. That's who he is. Anyway, Humza Yousaf's claim that he has no reason to suspend Nicola Sturgeon from the SNP is fooling no one, he added. This is Craig Hoy. He said he knows, as everyone else does, that there's a clear precedent in his party for MPs and MSPs who are under investigation to be suspended until the conclusion of their case. And in this instance, the police probe into the SNP's very murky finances is very much ongoing. Of course it is. They keep saying because it's ongoing, they can't talk about it. Well, if it's so ongoing, then she needs to be suspended until it is no longer ongoing. Several senior SNP figures have already said it's wrong for Nicola Sturgeon to receive favourable treatment by the party. But the reason Humza Yousaf will not follow the precedent, which was set by his predecessor when she was party leader, is because he's hopelessly compromised by the fact that he only won the leadership election thanks to the backing of Nicola Sturgeon and her inner circle. I don't think I want to know anything about Nicola Sturgeon's inner circle. It's not something I think I need to investigate to any great depth. I don't suppose too many people have. Anyway, there he is, the weakest man in Scottish politics, the fool, not the stupidest. We've covered that with Patrick Harvey, but he's up there. But he is most certainly the weakest. And when Scotland needs a leader and they end up with a bag of blancmange, isn't it terrible? Anyway, I shall round off and come up. Humza Yousaf truly is a joke, isn't he? He is like a small boy, you know, and he hasn't got a clue what he's doing. He's in awe of everyone around him. He just nods and agrees because he doesn't have the ability to think, you know, in any coherent manner. He doesn't understand the optics of a situation. He just goes, yeah, no, whatever, because he lacks any kind of understanding of politics. He's got no political nous. And he doesn't understand that by not distancing himself for a woman who could potentially be going to jail, he's aligning himself and his party with a potential criminal act. Why isn't he judging this? Why isn't he moving the party away from that? It's unbelievable that this man is, you know, the leader of a party, the leader of a country, when he is quite clearly not fit for the role. And I think even SNP members are now starting to see that. And it wouldn't surprise me if before long there's another leadership challenge. And they couldn't do any worse, could they? Come on. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you see in here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, always suspend people if they've done wrong, and goodbye.